The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario, streaming us on classic1220.ca. My guest of this hour is a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of having on the show a number of times. His name is Dr. Christopher Macklin, and he is a highly respected UFO expert, medical intuitive, remote viewer, a spiritual teacher, and energetic healer. He's also known for his work assisting people in achieving optimal spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. His work, which addresses a wide range of mind, body, spirit imbalances to overall wellness, which is well received and resonates with the general public, who have been all experiencing kind of strange, weird, and wonderful emotions. And well, it's just very strange times, Chris. And thanks very much for coming back to the show. Always great having you with us.
Thanks for having me, Rob. Bless your heart. It's great to be here.
Yeah, Chris, tell our listeners and viewers who may not have had the opportunity of being with us last time you were on about yourself and how you started your quest.
It's interesting, it starts when I was born. I was born as a Melchizedek being, didn't know at the time. Attacked 2 days after I got born. I had 8 strokes and then moved on. Burnt my back when I was 4. I was in hospital for a year each time. Mm-hmm. And then I moved forward. I could see things, in the sky. Like, Dad, what's that? It's a saucer thing, and flying saucer. Nah, there's nothing there, So I could see through the veil, and still can actually, which is troublesome sometimes because you're sitting on the deck. And
right
the other day in the front yard, a guy had his horse, and I said to Mandy, "Can you see that?" She goes, "No," which she said I can hear it, So I was watching this guy get on his horse. He just rode away, and it's in obviously a different dimension, but. Anyway, so move forward, go to school. Then I got degrees, masters, and different things. And I worked as an aeronautic engineer for different companies like Aerospace and CASA, Construction Aeronauticas in Spain, and everyone else for that matter on different projects. And I used to be at work, and then I worked for Philips Consumer Electronics, and I was looking at work thinking, there's got to be something better than this. This is just a paycheck. I didn't enjoy it, tons of money, but didn't enjoy it. And then suddenly in 2007, went completely bankrupt. Ended up living out of a car for a bit, about 2 years, but not all the time. Sometimes I went to stay with people, sometimes out of a car, and then I went to do some things. But it really taught me a lot, and it gave me the time to actually meditate with the Melchizedek beings. And I was sponsored to go to Belize, and that's where I found, I was born as a Melchizedek being, this is your past lives, this is what you're doing now. And it changed my life, I remember 20 years ago, I had a reading, and this lady, she was about 84, and she sat there, she said, right, I'm going to start the reading. And she said, oh, thank you, thank you. I was going, thank you. She says, well, this is 20 years ago when I'm in England, and she goes, well, you're going to get remarried. Okay. You're going to move to America. Oh, okay. You're going to do healing for a living and live off donations. I thought, oh, okay. And I thought, what? And here we are. So it's amazing. So anyway, I moved here in 2010, set up the ministry to do healings. I've been all over the world doing that. And it's got me to the now. I've been to expos, I've been to different things, but I'd encourage anyone out there who's got gifts, don't worry, forget the money. It doesn't matter, If you follow your gift, you'll always be taken care of.
And of course, if you don't want your money, you can just send me a PayPal donation. I'd take care of it for you. Chris and I will open up a fund in your. Oh, never mind. That's another show.
So yeah, it's been interesting, but I learned a lot about money as well, because when I was younger, I used to hate the stuff. I hated it, with a passion.
Yes.
And when I got here, because I thought it was evil, and
Yeah.
when I got here, this pastor sat me down and said, "Well, look at it as energy." She said, "If you want to pay, your hairdresser, I mean, it takes 4.5 seconds to cut my hair because there's nothing there, and they still charge you $30." But yeah, she said, "If you want to pay your hairdresser, can you pay her with chicken or some tomatoes?" No. What do you need? Money. And the same. And she said a couple of things. She said, "View it like this. You can turn. To me, I think the monetary system is dark. Satanically dark.
Right.
It's a promise to pay note and everything else. But you can get those notes and you can turn them to light. And that's what I realized. So I've come to terms with money and learned to respect it. So." And here we are, yeah, we're always busy. I love what I do. And that's the thing. If you love what you do and you've got this blazing passion for it,
Right.
that's the key. Yeah, passion is everything.
There's no doubt, Chris, that these are very trying and difficult times. I myself found the shift starting at 2012 when the Mayan calendar was supposed to be the end. And now it seems that a lot of what Nostradamus was talking about way back when, you can actually look at it and interpret his quatrains into whatever you want. But so many people who are gifted like yourself are trying to help us figure out what is going on. For example, take a look at the political situation. I'm 72, Chris. And I have never seen such a political mess in all my life. It's just unbelievable. Now you've got the president of the United States who is saying, well, I'm going to take the Panama Canal. I'm going to take Greenland. I'm going to take the Gaza Strip. And by the way, Canada, I'm going to put you in such a financial bind that you're going to have to accept being the 51st state of the Union. And I'm saying, no.
It's actually crazy.
It is.
It is really crazy. But there's also deep state people as well. There's who knows what they're doing? There's so many presidents who are resigning at the moment, and people getting out, things being exposed. It looks like an absolute mess. And I think the problem with this, Rob, is that people's, when they expose like the fraud in, UCID and all these different places.
Yeah,
people get angry, and you can feel the energy. The energy over here at the moment. I don't know what's like there, but it feels like some days it feels like the Twilight Zone. Some days it feels like absolute despair, and then other days it's quite good. It's changing, and I've found with the clients, they're struggling, even though they're spiritual, they're struggling to hang on to all this.
Well, by the way, Exo Nation, there wasn't an earthquake. It was me trying to refocus my camera, so don't worry about that. We're both here. But when you look at the big picture, Chris, we have what people call the sane part of reality. That's the part I call insane. The topics that you and I discuss, the people that you help using your gifts, we're still waiting for the disclosure to happen with UFOs. We're still waiting for unequivocal proof that Bigfoot does exist, and so on. How hard is it for you as the person that you are, with the millions of people that have so much respect for you, because you treat people as if you'd want to be how you'd want to be treated, and that's how mutual respect works. How does all this uncertainty with the paranormal, how does that deal in your day to day?
I think there's tremendous uncertainty. I mean, I know they're there. I've seen them. I've seen ships, been in contact with them. But if people haven't, take for example my father. He said, "Well, there's only us in the universe." And I'm going, the universe is infinite, and you think there's only us?
Right.
Yeah, have to be. How egotistical can that be? But people when you talk about aliens and off-planet craft and everything else, people get very insecure about it because it's something that they just haven't come across, and it's there, I mean, I've been picked up, and they have craft, they have, and actually helping us as well. And personally, I think we need some help right now.
Well, big time. Big time. I'm convinced that on the dark side of the moon, there's this massive billboard that says "Earth ahead, turn back now."
yeah. And I just passed it as a no entry sign. Don't go there.
Exactly. Mind you, talking about your dad and my dad's the same. They didn't have the ability to know as much as we know because of the internet, because of the advances that had been made in science and technology, astronomy, and so on. But why do you think that the ETs just haven't made their presence known so that the anticipation, the disclosure can be once and for all and forever exposed? And then we could start working with the ETs to progress instead of being stuck behind the wheel of this tire that's in the mud that just keeps on spinning.
Yeah, and I think people have had enough of it as well.
Yeah.
I believe that I think they want the emotion on the planet to stabilize a little bit, is what I believe. Because I think right now, if ETs came along on top of all the things that are coming out and the turbulence in the world, I think it'd be too much for people. So I think what they're probably going to do is wait till maybe, I believe, next year. I think it'll start. Things are starting to come out now, little bits. But I think big disclosures, I believe, will be next year because it gives people a chance to digest all what's going on, the fraud in the government. We know all this stuff goes on.
Chris, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to ask you what it was like the first time you actually interacted with an ET, somebody that was not from this realm of reality.
Do you want the good one or the bad one?
The
bad one was. Well, the bad one was bad when I was 4. I was in my bedroom and there was this. I mean, Anunnakis are pretty tall. They could be anything, 9 to 14 feet tall.
Wow.
So there's this reptilian thing, sitting in a dad. There's a reptilian. I think I probably called it a dinosaur, but it's in the corner of my room and I can see through the veil. So my father comes running. Where is it? Where is it? And I thought, we can't see it, And this thing was kind of snarly, and I knew it was that real because there was like a dark feeling in your chest. I'm like,
right.
Wow, Oh, don't worry, go to sleep. And this thing's kind of sitting there. And so I got with all my might, said, get out of my room, and it went. I thought, oh, that worked. So even at the age of 4, I had the gumption to be able to remove them. That was the first encounter. I've had greys come into my room, but I've managed to let them go, and they're taken off the planet now.
All right, stand by, my friend. We've got to take our first break. Exo Nation. Christopher Macklin is my special guest this hour. Great guy. And we're going to talk to Chris more about ETs, things that go bump in the night. We're going to talk to Chris about healing and much more. Chris and I return on the other side of this break as the Exo continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're watching us and listening to us on the Exo Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca.
Are you ready to dive into the mysteries of the unknown? Tune into the electrifying X-Zone radio TV show hosted by the one and only Rob McConnell.
I'm Rob McConnell, and get ready for a mind-bending journey through the unexplained phenomenon that surrounds us all. From UFO encounters to cryptids, ghosts, and everything in between, we've got it covered here in the X-Zone.
Rob McConnell, the seasoned investigator and renowned radio personality, brings you the most compelling interviews with top experts, authors, and experiencers from around the world. Each episode is an unforgettable exploration into the depths of the extraordinary.
That's right, Exo Nation. Join me every week as we open the door to the supernatural and explore the strange and amazing stories that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew.
And it's not just radio anymore. With our groundbreaking TV show, you can now witness the sessions unfold right before your eyes. From chilling reenactments to captivating visuals, prepare yourself for a multimedia experience like never before.
With a legacy spanning over 2 decades, the X-Zone Radio and TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, is your ultimate source for mind-blowing entertainment and thought-provoking discussions. Join our growing community of truth seekers as we continue to unlock the world's mysteries.
So, why wait? Step into the X-Zone and embark on a journey that will challenge your beliefs, ignite your curiosity, and keep you on the edge of your seat.
Remember, X-Zone Nation, the truth is out there, and it's waiting for you right here on the X-Zone Radio and TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't miss a minute of the action.
Tune in now on your favorite radio station or visit xzoneradiotv.com to join the adventure. The X-Zone Radio TV show with Rob McConnell, where reality meets the unknown.
The X-Zone Radio TV show, unraveling the secrets of the universe, one episode at a time. For more information, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Environment Canada has issued an advisory for the next 48 hours. Plenty of snow, freezing rain. So please, if you're driving throughout southern Ontario, take your time and don't be afraid to pull over. And just stay safe. You know, you always have somebody waiting for you at home. And it's also a great idea to make sure that you have plenty of windshield washer fluid, that you've got an extra couple of blankets in the car, and just be prepared. Dr. Christopher Macklin is our special guest this hour. I've had the pleasure of having Christopher on the show a number of times. And his website is, globalenlightenmentproject.com. Chris, before we go any further, I'd like to talk to you about the work that you do with people who have had abduction experiences. And I would imagine that there are negative experiences just like there are positive. And how do you help them? How are you able to bring some sort of sanity into what has to be one of the most upsetting experiences that they could have?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. And, you know, these experiences could give people deep trauma. The problem is they wipe the conscious memory, but they can't wipe the subconscious memory. And, you know, I'll take an example. There's a lady in Florida, and I was going down there to talk at one of the Unity churches here, you know, and talk about, you know, healing and different things. And she phoned me up and she said, please, could you come to my house? I was abducted 2 days ago. And she was in tears. She was so upset, you know.
Right.
She doesn't remember the whole thing, but she knows, and her whole womb was like inflamed with the process. And she said, I feel as though I've been raped. I said, okay, we'll come. And anyway, I went to her house. I helped her with some portals. She had some portals where the greys were getting in. So we shut those. Mm-hmm. And then I worked on her. And what we did is basically work on any scar tissue in the womb, which there's not normally, but this time there was. There's quite a bit. So, you know, through psychic surgery, the Melchizedek beings went in, combed the meridians, she felt better. And we could do a lot of heart shock releases. It takes a little while to do it because if you ingest that sort of trauma, it's a violation to your body as a sovereign being. Just because your government signed to say, okay, you can adopt these people, it doesn't mean to say that, you know, they're allowed because you're a sovereign being. They should ask your permission, of course. Now, with positive ETs, it's always agreed on. You know, you tend to find positive experiences where you agree, yeah, I'll come on. They're not after your body parts. The Greys were took off the planet, I think it was in 2017. And I was at the Galactic Federation meeting where, you know, what's the difference between violation and education? You think, well, like, for example, Anunnaki, Draconians, Luciferians, Archons, they can attach to you. Now, do you give them permission? No. So why is that in education? Well, before you come down here, they say, "Oh, are you sure you want to come to planet Earth?" You say, "Yeah, no problem," because you're in the God realm. And, well, let me just show you a few clips of what you can, be aware of. And of course, when you're up there, oh yeah, we could take care of that. We can block them out. I mean, the power of prayer. To me, I don't like the word prayer. I like the word map of intent. The power of map of intent as a sovereign being is huge. And so once you learn how to navigate these things, it's an education. You've spiritually grown. But if someone signs a deal with the Greys that, okay, you can, if you give us all the technology, then we'll abduct your people. Is that a violation? Of course it is. So they were swept off the planet, but they're very crafty. It was agreed to remove them from this time. This time and space. So what they're doing is coming in portals. So they're in a kind of a different time space. They can't get out of the portal, but they're still bothering people to this day. So we didn't go far enough to actually keep them off the planet.
So we know that this end of the portal is our planet, but where is the other end of the portal? Do we know where these entities come from and what their mission is?
Well, the Greys are from Orion's belt in Reticula. They destroyed their planet. That's why they want to. They're all sterile, so they've got to use their DNA and fertilize eggs. They want to use human eggs or sperm to make their own humanoids and to keep their race going on. But they destroyed their own planet, and now, of course, bringing that technology. Are we ready for it? I don't think we are. I really don't.
But Chris, if they're that advanced and they have the scientific knowledge and they're able to do so much, why would they have to keep on abducting person after person after person instead of, once they have abducted the person, get the DNA that they need, do the DNA sequencing, and they could have a perpetual amount of specimens? But why come back and put so many people at risk?
Well, I think it's because a lot of women have suddenly, got abducted, and a few weeks later said, "Wow, I think I may be pregnant." And they check, and they're pregnant, and suddenly 2 weeks later they're not. What's the reason for that? And it's my belief, I may be wrong, but I believe that you can't create a proper human being out of a pod. It doesn't work like that, because
Right.
you need the God energy around the womb to be able to, so you fertilize an egg. So it starts with candlelit dinner. Fertilized egg becomes a fetus.
Right.
You've got 3 months to get the soul in. But if it's not in a woman's womb, then you're going to get some sort of AI biological human. It's not proper human being. And that's what they wanted. They wanted the human love and the energy of the human being within their race.
Why wouldn't they go to another planet? Why target planet Earth and the Homo sapiens that are here?
Well, because we've evolved, we've got all the love and we've got feelings, we've got empathy, we've got a lot of things that they wanted that aren't on other planets. And so I think that's why they target us. And so, that's why they want to get all these emotional beings back, because the Greys are very shut down. They're very, they've got no emotion, really, emotionless. They've got no love because it's all gone. They've been in wars and things like that. And it's not the stuffing out of them, so they want to bring it back. It's interesting, actually.
So, how many different species would you say are partaking in this lab experiment that are being conducted on humans?
Well, I know the Greys are doing it for their own race. Anunnaki, they're experimenting with human, fetuses and material to create different beings. The Draconians tend to actually feed off us. So do the Anunnaki, actually. But and then you've got Luciferians who also feed off us. We're like cattle to them. So they're more interested in the food rather than, messing about with the human. It's really the Greys who have done most of the abductions over the past. The Anunnaki will create Anunnaki clones using people's DNA. But of course, that's why people in CIA, they wear shades, because you can't see in the eyes because there's no soul there. So their eyes are dead, completely dead. Whilst, if you look at a normal human being, you can see through their eyes, you can see the soul like a lightness and, light being. So, and there's a lot of clones here, A lot of clones.
How do we differentiate between a clone and a human?
They react differently. They're kind of logical, shut down, no empathy, no love. It's just, black and white, a bit like the Greys, and you can tell a mile off. And also, if you can see their eyes, look in their eyes, because there'll be no soul there. So their eyes are completely dead. There's no light in them. They're just a biological, humanoid thing.
Okay, so you mentioned God before. Where does God enter this picture? Because it would seem to me that if God is involved, then what we've learned and what we've been taught through the different religious philosophies, somebody's not telling us the truth here. And who is that? Because if you look at the Bible, you had Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, and the rest of the stories. But where is it mentioned in the Bible that there's other races that have the permission from our Creator, God, to come here and to experiment on us?
Well, it doesn't, but you've got to remember the Bible's been changed somewhat over the years by King James and, Pontius Pilate, all these leaders in charge. So I don't think it's the same. I mean, a lot of people say our Bible now is the Word of God. I think the original Bible was way more accurate.
Right.
On our website, we have the direct translation of the Lord's Prayer, and it's absolutely amazing. If you read it, it'll give you shivers because it's a manifestation. It's a prayer, but it's a complete manifestation. It's just amazing when you read it. But when you really read the one that's been manipulated, it sounds like we're all powerless victims, and So I think I think the Bible's got a lot of great information. A lot of the chapters and things were taken out, and it's been reduced. So there's a lot of information like the Dead Sea Scrolls, which I think would show, there's other beings, would show that, there's manipulation. And it's up to us to learn how to navigate that, I think.
All right, Chris, stand by. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour. And Exonation, our guest this hour, is Dr. Christopher Macklin. And if you'd like some more information on Christopher, his website is globalenlightenmentproject.com. And Christopher and I will return on the other side of this break as we continue from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. So whatever you do, don't go away.
Are you ready for a tale that will leave you on the edge of your seat? Get ready to dive into the gripping memoir by Bart Sibrel titled Moon Man. Bart Sibrel takes you on a heart-pounding journey, unmasking the truth behind America's famous Apollo missions. Prepare yourself for hair-raising encounters with agents from the U.S. government's top secret agencies. In Moon Man, Sibrel fearlessly reveals his real-life espionage adventures, shining a light on one of the CIA's best-kept secrets. Brace yourself for shocking revelations, including Sibrel's discovery of privately recorded audio exposing an Apollo astronaut's chilling plot, a plot orchestrated by the CIA. That's right. As Sibrel unveils this groundbreaking evidence, it becomes clear that there is much more to the Apollo missions than meets the eye. Could it be that we've been deceived all along? Moon Man is a gripping page-turner that challenges everything you thought you knew. It's a mind-bending journey into the unknown, where the line between truth and fiction becomes blurred. Don't miss this opportunity to uncover the secrets hidden for decades. Let your curiosity guide you as you join Bart Sibrel on his quest to find the truth. Moon Man, available now at Sibrel.com. That's Sibrel.com. Prepare to have your beliefs shaken to the very core.
NASA has confirmed that they have evidence of life beyond Earth.
This discovery is confirmed.
Well, let's see, we've had visitors again. Yeah. Probably worth mentioning.
I filmed 16 minutes on March 5th, 1994, 16 minutes of broad daylight UFO activity.
The other side, the spirit realm, is a parallel dimension which runs, which coexists with ours. And what spirits are doing is they're sending waves of frequency from that dimension to ours.
The government instituted the truth embargo. The government poured disinformation and misinformation into this field, encouraging hoaxes and any other foolishness. It created a truth vacuum that naturally was going to be filled with theories and assertions and other stuff.
The oil oligarchs and the banks and the people who are making decisions that are leading us down the wrong path.
They've undermined the research, intimidated and threatened witnesses. The government is responsible for the fact that the status of this issue is not resolved.
I'm Rob McConnell, host and executive producer of the X-Zone radio show. Now we are set to bring the amazing world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology to broadcast TV and online video with the development of X-Zone TV. X-Zone TV will now bring our loyal listeners and new viewers face to face with the most controversial and well-known personalities in the field of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology. From scientists to theorists, astronauts to adventurers, celebrities, pundits, advocates, and naysayers, they'll all join our rapid-fire TV broadcast, interactive discussion, and debate. Interest in the paranormal and parapsychology has never been more intense, and it continues to grow. The truth is out there, so take a deep breath and join us as we step into the light. For more information about X-Zone TV, please contact me, Rob McConnell, directly at these coordinates, Rob McConnell at xzonetv.com.
Dr. Christopher Macklin is my special guest at this hour, Exonation. Don't forget, hour number 2 starts just as the good doctor and I say so long for tonight. Chris, we've heard stories from people who have been abducted who say that, I think we were alluding to this earlier, where they've had artificial insemination and then the fetus has been taken from the body. Later on, they have had the opportunity of meeting their child. How frequently is this happening, Christopher? And why is the government allowing this to happen?
Well, the deal was struck a long time ago, and I think it's definitely, they signed a contract, and after that, everywhere, all the governments signed it, and everywhere they've been abducting for many years. That's why it's stopped now, but it was happening an awful lot. I was meeting so many abductees. It was really crazy at one point. Yeah, I mean, talking about tens of thousands of people, and now I don't see it very much anymore, because I think what happened is that what's happened after 2017, they're still bothering people, but they can't abduct them on their ship, so they're coming through portals instead. So it's very interesting. Yeah, tens of thousands. It's amazing.
What is the common thread that each and every abductee has in common?
I think
Whoops, where's Chris? Ah, there he is. Sorry, Chris.
I'm here. So I think they choose people, and I think they measure their frequency and look at look at their frequencies and their aura and things like that. Because, and of course, once they've been abducted and they've put the fetus, they've impregnated the fetus, and they put them back down here, they put chips. They normally chip the brain just above the brainstem. They chip the heart, and they chip obviously the vaginal area to make sure that they can then monitor it. And then, of course, when it's ready, they'll abduct them again and take it out. So it's like using them for a breeding farm. It's crazy, really crazy.
Okay, so where does this entire abduction scenario fit in with the what we call past life, out of body experiences? There seems to be so many different fragmented parts to all the different experiences that people have, that I don't understand why it has to be done the way they do it. Mind you, I'm not as smart as they are, because I can't zip around the universe. Well, not usually anyway. There seems to be something that we're still missing. The puzzle isn't completed yet, Chris. Do you have any idea what the completed puzzle will look like?
Well, right now, people are manipulated to get in a soul recycling process. So, sadly, you can't even pass without just, they put you. There's a firmament around this planet, of energy, and so very difficult to get. There's holes in it where you can get, beyond it. But it also has an area where, when you pass, they put a false portal, and they'll project your parents or something, and I'll go to the light. So you go up there and you're coming kind of straight back. Now the truth should be that if you go to the right place, you have the choice of coming back, and therefore they at this time they wanted starseeds. So probably for the last, I would say, 4,000 years.
Right.
They've chosen some people who are very spiritually evolved to come down and really help move humanity's kind of, get the knowledge really to take your power back and be able to be a really strong spiritual being. And that's why a lot of starseeds for the last 4,000 years. I know what my past lives have been, and but who cares what it was then? It's what you do now. I think the starseed, of which there's probably 1.2% of the planet, have been coming back, and other people have just been stuck in the soul recycling process, coming back time and time again. I mean, if you choose to come back, it's good for spiritual growth. I mean, this place is not for the faint-hearted, I'll tell you. So the place is nuts. I love it, but it's nuts. This planet's nuts.
So, Chris, in your opinion, what's the final objective of coming back, going, and in this transitionary spot that we find ourselves in after death, do we just come back to this existence, this reality, or do we venture off into other parts of the unknown in order that we can continue our growth and continue our education into being whoever or whatever we're supposed to be?
Well, people who haven't evolved don't understand that, obviously when you pass, you have to look at the real light, because again, it's about discernment. Even when you pass, you can't pass peacefully. You go, okay, do I go to that light or do I go over here? And if you turn around and go over there, you'll be free from the soul recycling process.
Right.
But I mean, I volunteered to, I don't know what I was thinking, but I volunteered because, they said we want volunteers, and that's what starseed people are on different planets, volunteers. Look, we go down to Earth. Oh, yeah, no problem, because it's great on that planet. And then you get down here, and that's why they put so many starseeds, because a lot of them are being manipulated. Right. They get down here, they get depressed. How do you know? People often say, how do you know you're a starseed person? Well, you have huge empathy. You ingest emotion, you take things so personally, and I remember when I was, in my 20s, about a couple of years ago, I was lost, or maybe 3.5 years ago. When I was in my 20s, someone talked behind my back. I was mortified, and I didn't behave like the average person in the street. And I thought, I don't understand why you don't fit in, because you think differently. You're interested in things that matter, not just trivia. You know what I mean? And I think, so you act very differently. So you have probably very few friends. I mean, we have 4 or 5 friends, and that's it. A lot of people are, I've got 50 friends, 30 friends, whatever. Well, we don't, because When you sit down with dinner, we went with a Southern Baptist couple one day, and what they always ask, what do you do for a living?
Right.
I said, oh, no. I said, well, I do healing. Is it in the name of the Lord? I said, well, kind of, but then I thought, oh, let's tell them how it works. So it's portal in systems, and, we get the Melchizedek beings and do psychic surgery, and they just glazed over. I thought, this guy's nuts, and so, they never invited us again. But I always tell the truth, oh God, because I don't want to ever people please. I don't tread on eggshells.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm not being rude. I'm just saying this is how it works. And if you don't like it, it's okay,
Plus, they ask the question, so you're giving them the answer.
Well, exactly. Yeah. If you don't want to know, don't ask.
What's that old saying? Ask me no questions, and I'll tell you no lies.
Exactly. Yeah. I never tell people lies.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're a politician, then they're all at it. But who knows?
When you look at the big picture, Chris, like I'm sure you sometimes might say, oh, come on, you've got to be kidding. Has there ever been one experience that you've had that you thought you saw it all except this one experience that kind of blew whatever your thought processes were at the time or what your belief was, that it just tore it all apart?
I think the worst time for me, I have the ability to remote view. And you may say, well, why don't you remote view the future? Well, the timelines are, there's parallel timelines and they're all starting to converge.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remote view now, which timeline do you want to remote view? The dark one, the light one, or the medium one? When they converge and lock into one, then you can start seeing the future. And they haven't done that yet. But I was remote viewing down in the Duns, where all the kids are. And it got me so perturbed. And I was almost sick, because the problem is when you remote view, you can smell, and you can smell the death, and the stuff they're doing to these kids is just, and I thought, I can't go there again. I've got to, I thought you have to be kidding. And this is done by, it's done by, deep state, Hollywood, all these types of people. And it's evil, it's beyond evil. And I just had no words for it. And I said, I can't look down there again. It's too much for me, It's too much for anybody. So I think that was one of the worst things I've seen.
So how does one deal with the events that they've had? When they come to you, and like this lady who called you 2 days after she had been abducted, they're totally disheveled. How do you help them, Chris?
Well, first of all, obviously you talk to them, but the biggest thing we've got a fast track method of getting rid of emotion. So how do we do that? Well, if you're an empath, you ingest over your lifetime, like now, maybe 150, 200,000 layers of emotion.
Right.
Most of it's like negative because the emotion you ingest is the stuff that, is really traumatized you. And of course, if you're a starseed or, you're sensitive, again, starseeds are hypersensitive, and I am as well. You ingest way more than the average human being. So what the Melchizedek beings do with psychic surgery, they go within those layers, 150,000. They look for your biggest layer affecting you right now. They pull that out next biggest. And so we can, normally we start off with 81 layers, and that's a lot. If you sit in front of a counselor, they'll poke at you like, 5-6 layers in an hour, and you bowl your eyes out, and you talk about it, and then
right.
This is 81. So how can we do 81 and people don't crash and burn? The answer is because what they're doing is they're pulling that energetic emotion out. So what happens is that most of the emotion is gone. So what happens, you just feel maybe 2 hours next day, you might end up bawling your eyes out for maybe 5 or 10 minutes just to remove that residual emotion that's left of it, which is quite small. So we can start off 81, 162, 324, 648, and then 1296 layers. It's a lot, but the more layers you can do, the quicker you can help people heal,
Do you find it very rewarding to be able to help these people?
Oh, I love it. I've got people with ADHD, ADD, OCD, PTSD. Mm-hmm. I've got people, schizophrenic people worked on. I've got people with cancers. There's so many people with cancer at the moment. It's all true, And we've even got a protocol, what I call a bioweapon. The jab that they said was safe is not. People are getting myocarditis and various things. It's interesting because, I had this heart valve problem, and that was produced by the Vatican. Low frequency energy weapon melted two of my cusps together, so I had a bicuspal valve, and I got sick within about a week and a half. And I asked Mother Mary, can we fix it that quick? And she said, no, you need to go in and get it replaced. So I went in for surgery. I think it was October the 4th. But I went to the cardiologist since, and I was talking to him. I said, you must have a lot of people. You must be seeing a ton of people, because I said over 100 million people just in America have got permanent heart damage from this vaccine. And they kind of said, not meant to tell you this, but yeah, we're seeing an absolute ton of people, So people are in trouble with all these things. And I think they're upset because they were mandated, well, you've got to take it, otherwise you'll lose your job.
Yeah.
My answer to that is, what's more important, your life or your job, And it's, that's up to everyone to decide. But we've produced a method of getting rid of it by stripping it out using timeline quantum, splitting. And it's worked, worked on 800 people and it's gone. So that's been good.
Chris, stand by. We've got to take our final break. Index Zone Nation, Christopher Macklin is our very special guest. And if you'd like to find out more about Christopher, visit his website, globalenlightenmentproject.com. And we'll wrap up this first hour when we come back from Chris. And in hour number 2, another great guest here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. And www.xzbn.net is where you can find all the great programming we have here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. And if you're driving around Niagara and you want to listen to the very best music, your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca. We'll be back. Don't go away. And we're back. Christopher Macklin is our special guest. And first of all, Chris, as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us here on the X Zone. Whenever you're on, I get so many emails about people feeling energy or feeling a change in their life just when you're on the air with them. How do you do it?
Well, I always keep my energy very high, and I think people have often said that to me, like, "Wow, I feel your energy," and it's interesting. I don't know whether you can see this. Have a look at this. If I can get it in the right place. Right, have a look way above my fingers, and if I move my fingers, can you see the energy lines coming off my fingers? I don't think you can see them.
I see something. I don't know if it's the reflection or whatever it is, but I do see something, Chris.
Yeah, because it goes out about 20 feet, so my energy is very high, and that's why I think, and you need it for healing, of course, because it's really important.
We were talking before about an increase in the rate of cancer. I have no idea what happened there.
It wasn't me.
Live radio, isn't this? Radio and TV, isn't this great? We were talking about cancer, and do you have any idea on why there's been such an uptake in cancer victims over the last 15, 20 years? I think there might be a problem with the food we're eating.
Absolutely. I think it's the food now. It's the vaccine. Now you've got turbo cancer. So with the food, it's got agrobacterium. It's got all sorts of lack of nutrients. Everything's been over-farmed.
Right.
Genetically modified. Agrobacterium damages DNA. DNA, RNA, and immune system is all connected. So that's why people's immunes are low, because your DNA is not robust anymore. But now that in the vaccine you've got CRISPR technology, which splices your genetics, and therefore DNA, RNA, immune system, your immune system goes down to 15 to 18%. So of course, what's the primary cause of cancer? Emotion. Secondary cause is pathogens, which are in the vaccine, mutating the cells, turn into tumors, and so that they just grow so fast, it's unbelievable, and it's sad, that's why I encourage anyone, if you've had the vaccine, strip it out. It's really important to take it out, because people are getting really sick. And in fact, it's interesting, because if I can share this with you, the Deagle report, where's it gone? Let me just get it on. So the Deagle report, it's on deagle.com. They predict the population every year, and they've been absolutely spot on. So they said the population, take for example, United States, in 2017 was 316.44 million. Million. This year they predict 99.553 million. And you're kind of thinking, wow.
Yeah.
United Kingdom, 63 million. Now they're predicting there'll be 14 million. What's Canada? Actually, Canada's better. Canada in 2017 was 35.620 million. They predict it's going to be 26, so that's not such a drop. But if that happens, it's interesting, because these new AI things they're talking about, and I'm not sure whether I like it at all, but if it's in the wrong hands, it could be, catastrophic. But if it's in the right hands, it could be quite useful.
Exactly. I was
yin and yang.
I was listening to a doctor the other day on another show I produce, and he was just ecstatic, because people will be able to actually use AI before they get to the doctor, and they'll have already done a bit of the research for the doctor. So by the time they get to the doctor, they won't have to spend as much time as they would if they just went in, if you'll excuse the expression, off the street, and where the doctor would have to do all the workups, this, that, and the other thing. So he was quite excited about the possibility that artificial intelligence may be the answer to the medical crisis that we find ourselves in around the world. However, I do agree with you that in the wrong hands, it can and will be very dangerous.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you've got robots, for example, doing the farming, the robots in your house doing the cleaning, whatever it's doing, and suddenly someone puts a patch in it. Right, I want you to, take out all the people in the house, and suddenly it'll just turn dark, and you've got no chance to get these things. So it's like everything; you can use it for good or evil. Money, you can use it for good or evil. Anything, So I think it depends.
Do you think that we are basically weeding ourselves out of existence?
I think the deep state governmental system, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, Illuminati, have been wanting to do that for years, and I think they haven't weeded us all out, but they've certainly made an inroad into the population. Because if that's true with the Daigle report, then the population of this planet's going to go down to about 2 billion, from 8.7. That's a big difference, But who knows? We'll have to see how it plays out.
Chris, we come to that time in the show where I have to say so long to you, and once again, thank you so much for coming on the show. But
Rob, thanks, question.
Anytime, Chris. And what are your final thoughts that you'd like to share with the Exo Nation tonight?
Yeah, I want everyone to. I think the only way to operate in this world right now is to ignore the politics, ignore the religion, ignore everything. Just be in your bubble with people around you who absolutely adore you, and just find something in the day that really pleases you, whether it's food, whether it's planting things, whether it's walking in the woods, boating, whatever it is. Do something every single day that gives you joy. That's really important.
And how can people find out more about you, Chris? I've been mentioning the website, but I'm sure they'd love to hear it from you.
Yeah. If you go to globalenlightenmentproject.com, and everything's there, and don't forget, we do twice a week, we do a healing where it's by donation. So if you have no money, please come on. We do a healing twice a week. That's Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Time, and Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Love to see you.
Chris, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And Exo Nation, thank you for joining us. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with, I believe, a little bit of a news in this segment. Am I right, Chris? Craig?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All righty. We'll be back on the other side of this very short break. Don't go away.